Simple and plain. To be the best, you have to win. That's why I play the game.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lakers Exclusive, where we talk exclusively about Lakers basketball. Now, we've been through our point guards, our shooting guards, and our small forwards in this series where we look at the most realistic players that the Lakers could bring in this offseason. Now, I know I haven't posted in a couple of days. You know, in Australia right now, we're in lockdown, and I'm trying to enroll in my last semester of uni, so a lot of things happening here, and I do apologize that I haven't been uploading lately, but all is in the clear now, and now I can get back to talking about what's most important, and that's Lakers basketball. So let's continue that series where we look at the most realistic players that the Lakers could possibly bring in this offseason. And let's move on to the power forward position now. So without further ado, if you have been liking our content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and give us a like to help us out moving forward. And let's talk some power forwards for the Lakers. But just quickly again, before we get started, I want to make sure everyone's up to date with the rumors that have been sort of circling around Lakerland at the moment. It's rumored that the Lakers are after a difference-making playmaker on the market. So that tells me that maybe they don't see Dennis Schroeder as a difference-making playmaker. We've seen him, be able to play make in the past, but not up to the standard that the Lakers want. So that means that they're probably going to move on from Dennis Schroeder, maybe target players like Lonzo Ball, who's an outstanding playmaker, maybe Kyle Lowry, who can play make very well. And the reason they want to do this is because they want to move Anthony Davis to play more at the 5 this year, which is great. I think we play our best basketball when Anthony Davis is at the 5. And they want to try and keep LeBron James at the power forward position more often this season as well. Now, we know LeBron can play multiple positions. His floor generalness is one of the best I've ever seen. So whether they cement LeBron James in the power forward position, that's something that we just have to see. We know LeBron likes the ball, so in those crunch moments, I'm expecting LeBron James to walk the ball up the floor for the Lakers. But that's very interesting. LeBron's coming towards his end of his career, and they just maybe want another player to help out in that aspect of the game to give LeBron James a bit more rest as he's only getting older. So that's something to keep an eye on. So in saying that, they want LeBron James to be a power forward at the power forward position, for the majority of this season, it looks like. So if this is to be true, it's more likely that we're going to bring in, probably a power forward off the bench to replace LeBron James. But that doesn't mean that we can't have starting quality players to come off the bench for us. Cats that have been in the league for a long time and can come in on some cheap contracts, the veteran minimum contract, and really add some depth to this Lakers lineup. But let's look at the most realistic power forward options that are on the market at the moment. And let's start with two very familiar faces, Markieff Morris and Montrezl Harrell. Now, first with Markieff Morris, we obviously picked him up our championship season. Towards the middle of that season, he comes in, he plays great defense at the power forward backup position, shot the ball quite well for the Lakers during his time, and he's just a veteran presence that we can bring in again on that veteran minimum contract, and he's going to provide some very effective and valuable minutes. And we can count on him. He's someone that, since he's been on the Lakers, we could count on every time. And he's played very well when he's been out on the floor there. And again, he's coming back on a cheap contract. And anytime he can get a player as valuable as Markieff Morris on a cheap contract, I'm going to want to see Markieff Morris back on this Lakers team next year. He knows the system that we play with, and he's just a very good addition there for the Lakers, and shot the ball quite well as well. So I'm expecting Markieff Morris to come back. We also have Montrezl Harrell, who many people think he can also play center, and he can, but he's listed as a power forward on most NBA websites, so we're going to keep him at power forward just to make it easier for us in this video. And again, Montrezl Harrell played very well, I thought, off the bench for us, mostly throughout the regular season, but again, he didn't really play for us during the playoffs. And anytime you're paying someone around $10 million and they're not on the floor during the playoffs, the most important time in the season, that's a problem. And I'm not really sure why he wasn't out on the floor. I thought he provided a lot of effort out there on the floor. He always gives his 110%. But realistically, with what happened in the playoffs, Frank Vogel obviously just didn't want him out on the floor. Maybe it was a matchup thing, I'm not too sure. But the thing is, when you play these big centers in the Western Conference, with his size, you just can't really contain him on the defensive end. So I think realistically, we'll probably see Montrezl Harrell maybe opt out of his contract and possibly seek a contract from another team. But if we do bring him back, I think most likely as well, we'll probably try and package him to get another player in. But all in all, Montrezl Harrell, when he was out on the floor for us, he gave 110%. So I respect him for that. If he does decide to move on for the Lakers, I wish him all the best. If he does come back, I think it will be more valuable to use him as a trade piece to bring someone else in. And that's really all I had to say about Montrezl Harrell. The next player on the block is Carmelo Anthony, who I think should already be a Laker. In all honesty, he was out there on the market. The Lakers could easily just have brought him in. We went with Markieff Morris, I believe, over Carmelo Anthony, which I think, came to bite us in the butt a little bit because Carmelo Anthony had an outstanding couple of years with the Trailblazers there. And the thing about Carmelo Anthony is he's just an elite scorer. No matter where he is on the floor, he can light it up. He's a player that you can bring on when, LeBron James or Anthony Davis is sitting. He can throw the ball to. He can post up his player, hit turnaround jumpers, and he's an improved three-point shooter as well. So if you could get Carmelo Anthony for a vet minimum contract on the free agent market, I'm 100% going for Carmelo Anthony. He's just an elite scorer, and I think, he should already be on this team. I'm not sure why we didn't pick him up with the LeBron connection and all that, but, I think he'll be very valuable, and you can possibly play him at the 4 with Anthony Davis and then move LeBron to the small forward, and then you'd have all those 3 players with that connection there just lighting it up. And I think, 100% if Carmelo Anthony's on the market, we pick him up this season. The only thing is, he's obviously built a connection with the Trailblazers. Depending on the Dame decision, that's going to have a big, impact on his decision, I believe, as well. But I said he's found a home there in Portland. But, if he does want to win a championship, he is coming towards the end of his career. He's got his buddy LeBron already on the Lakers. It's the place to be, baby. Purple and gold. Let's get it done. Carmelo Anthony to the Lakers. There's also some other veteran players out there. We have Paul Millsap, who's 36, coming into this offseason. He spent the last couple of years at the Denver Nuggets. He can play the power forward. He can play the center in those small ball lineups, can shoot the ball well, is versatile on the defensive end. Coming towards the end of his career, as we said, but, anytime you can put him with LeBron James, that's a versatile lineup that the Lakers could look for. It's just a matter of what the market sees in Paul Millsap. Are the other teams willing to pay him a lot more than the Lakers could possibly want to pay him? But he's definitely one to keep an eye on there. There's also another player that really intrigues me, and that's Rudy Gay from the San Antonio Spurs. I think if we can get Rudy Gay, that's another versatile player that we could bring into the lineup, possibly even start him or bring him off the bench. He's lengthy, can score the ball. We've seen him go on multiple scoring runs even towards the end of his career here, and he's just someone that you can, again, throw the ball to when LeBron James or Anthony Davis is off the floor to really help us out in the scoring category there. So they're 2 players that I'm keeping my eye on. Also, it's, again, just a matter of what other teams are willing to pay them and what the Lakers want to do moving forward at the power forward position. There's also some other decent stretch bigs out there. Firstly, Kelly Olynyk, who every time he plays the Lakers, he seems to light us up for some reason. And he's just a player that you can, again, play at the 4 or the 5 to come off the bench or even start for you. And he's just, a lights-out shooter when he gets it going. Some nights he can go missing, but other nights he can come out and shoot 5 threes in a row and really get it going. There's also players like JaMychal Green, who's a very underrated player, who's also a good defender as well, who you can, again, play at the 4 or the 5, can really shoot the ball, can go on a hot streak again and really just change the momentum in the game. There's also Jeff Green out there, who's a little bit more athletic than the players that I just talked about, and he can really get it going as well. He had a couple of games last year for the Nets where he, shot lights out, shot about 8 threes a game, and he played very well in the playoffs, and he's also, again, versatile on the defensive end. So there's also those 3 players out there who could possibly bring in on a minimum contract that could really help out the Lakers at the 4 or the 5. It's just, again, the issue of what do other teams see in these types of guys? What are they willing to pay him? And what do the Lakers need moving forward? You can then go also very deep into the market and pick up players like Bajulia, Trey Lyles, Bobby Portis, who's having a great series for Milwaukee, but he's most likely going to go back there. Blake Griffin, who had a good season with the Nets, but again, he's most likely going to go back to the Nets. Players like Patrick Patterson or Ersan Ilyasova, who've been around for ages, but can really shoot the ball. Players like this that can come on and shoot the ball, which is what we're lacking at the moment, and really make a difference for us. So they're probably the most realistic options at the power forward position that the Lakers are going to go out and look for, because obviously we have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are superstars and play that position for us. But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not we actually do play LeBron James at the power forward for the majority of the season. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about that, or if I've missed any player that you would like to see at the power forward position for the Lakers moving forward. That's going to do it for this video though. If you are liking our content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. But for now, it's been your boy Jay from Lakers Exclusive. We'll catch you guys in the next one.